fucking boo.
Hey, what's up, bombardiers? The Bomb Squad. It's fucking boo bombing stories with Big Irish J. And today I have a very dear friend who I love very dearly, who's been a guest here at Hollingsworth and Burbridge Manor. She has a special out called Smam that you can see on Amazon Prime, YouTube, fucking what are the Hulu?
Prime, Tubi, Freevee. It is also on YouTube. I don't promote that, but yes, it is.
Okay. Oh yeah. Well then go to Amazon Prime and buy it. Pay, get some money to her.
Yeah, do that.
Kalea the Great McNeill. This is great for people listening to a podcast. You giving a peace sign.
They felt it.
Yes. So Kalea, tell me
Yes.
your best bombing story.
Okay. When I was a little girl. Okay, fine. So, okay, here's my thing. I'm going to be honest with you, and I'm not trying to be this asshole comic. I feel like I have only ever bombed one time. This is why I say that. Okay. There has only been one show that I've done that was so bad that I was like, I'm never fucking doing comedy again. And I walked away for like 6 months. And this was at none other than the J Spot.
Oh shit. Okay. So for the listeners and or viewers, the J Spot is a club in California, greater LA area. What city exactly is
Inglewood?
Inglewood, thank you. I always get I lived in Hawthorne, but I always mix up all the cities. And I've done the J Spot. I'll tell you my J Spot story here in a sec. But you know, is it still open?
It's one of those clubs where I think Jay Anthony, I think the name is still up there, and if he feels like doing something, it can happen, but no, it's not actively running.
I was going to say I was going to say it is, or it was one of the only black-owned comedy clubs in the country. I think there was, back when the Comedy Union was open, I think there was like 8 or 9. And after COVID, I don't even know anymore. But okay, so you're at, and it's the clientele is predominantly black, you'd say?
Yes, definitely. So here's where this was at. This was, I'm going to say early 2018. Okay. At the time, I had been running this set at Flappers, and that was doing really well. I had been running that set at the store. I had been running the set, all these places where I'm like, I got this. I got the opportunity to do, excuse me, I'm sorry, just one second, you guys. I just had a black mom moment with my dog. Okay. I'd been running this set. So I had the opportunity. They were like, hey, do you want to perform at the J Spot? And I'm like, sure, I'll perform at the J Spot. And the opportunity was opening for Michael Blackson.
Motherfucker.
I'm getting stressed out now that I've even started the story. The opportunity was opening for Michael Blackson. So I am excited. I'm ready to go kill it the way I've been killing it at Flappers. And actually, now that I'm thinking about it, because I'm thinking about where I was living at the time, this was 2016. And there's a reason I know that, and that comes up in the bomb. This was 2016. Okay. So I'm about 4 years into the comedy game, about 3 years into LA, and 2 years really into the LA scene, I guess you could say. But nothing the way I am now. It was just something that I kind of did, but I was good at it. So when I get this opportunity to open for Michael Blackson, I remember I showed up to the club. First impression, I was excited. It was one of those clubs where, yes, it's a black club, but I'd also been performing at the Comedy Union, which also is a black-owned club. But the Comedy Union clientele is a little bit different. It's the Comedy Union services African Americans, and the J Spot services black folk. And
I'm glad you said I'll just say I concur.
That's the best way to put that. And I had been with the folk, with the African Americans at the Comedy Union for a while. So I get to the J Spot. First impression was great. They treated me well, like a nice kind of green room area. The food was amazing. And this was, I mean, this was back, I was getting paid in drink tickets. This tells you how long ago that was for
Right.
me. So this was a while ago. So they gave me food and I had two drink tickets to cash in at the end of the night. So I'm back there and I'm super excited to meet Michael Blackson. His manager walks in and his manager introduces himself to me and he's like, "Oh, how long have you been doing comedy?" And I'm like, "Oh, I've been doing comedy for 4 years." And he just kind of puffs at me.
Oh no.
And he's like, "I know what you're gonna talk about." And I'm thinking like, all right, he don't know
You
that
don't
I've been
know.
killing it. He don't
Right.
know that I've been killing it at Flappers.
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't know.
And all these other places. So he don't know what I'm about to do. Like I'm about to knock his socks off.
Right.
So then Michael walks in. He's nice. He says hello. And they're kind of chilling in the green room area. The show starts. This woman named Ramona Stevens is hosting. This is important to the story. This is how I remembered it was 2016. So
I'm
Ramona
looking up
Stevens is
Ramona
hosting.
Stevens. It sounds familiar.
Kind of old school black lady comic.
Okay.
She's hosting, brings me up. So the room itself, Michael Blackson is Michael Blackson, but there were maybe 40 people there. And I feel like I'm pushing that. And the room probably seats like 250. So there was that. People sat wherever they wanted. It's not like anyone was encouraged to sit toward the front. So when I get on stage, there's literally a mom and a daughter, like two women just sitting in the front. Everybody else is kind of scattered about. So I'm doing my set to the quiet, like it's so quiet. Like that, like even in my quote unquote pauses, I just keep talking because I'm like this. And I'm like in my head, I'm just like, you have to keep going. And I'm like, I don't get it. Like this was killing everywhere else I go. Now, mind you, I know I could go in front of that same crowd today and kill with that same
Right.
set. But I didn't do any code switching. I did it, verbatim, like how I had been doing it. And they're just kind of looking at me. And then the two ladies that are sitting up front, they feel so awkward because they're like, they have to be present because they are sitting front row.
Right.
I remember at the end of my set, all I heard was, and it was from the two ladies in the front. And the look on their face was just, there was angst. Like, is she all right? Like if I clap again, she'll disappear, right? Like will 3 clicks take me home? It was terrible. So I'm now walking.
But sorry to interrupt you, but are you featuring for Michael Blackson?
Yeah.
How long is your set that you had to do?
I mean, I think it was a 15-minute set.
And is this 15 minutes of this of where you're hitting and it's quiet?
The loudest they were was when she said, "Welcome to the stage, Kalea McNeill."
Now, okay. This is back again. You say you're about 4 years in. This is like 5 years ago, roughly. And now it was like
2016. This was like
okay,
8 years ago.
Okay, gotcha. Sorry, went to a public school. So when you so you do your first joke, and when I'm just wondering, like, what was going through your head as you keep firing off jokes?
What was going through my head was, okay, I have to at least finish, or they're not going to give me my drink ticket. That's all that was going through my head. And I'm just like, I'm talking, and how do I put it? You ever, like, I could feel the room. Like it was almost as if I stepped out of my body and I just started looking around the room at everybody else who was doing everything other than looking at me. And then I'm trying my hardest not to look over at Michael Blackson's manager, who already said I was going to suck.
Oh, fuck. Now,
and
on the early part of your set, as like, let's say you 2 or 3 jokes in and they're not going over for whatever reason.
Yeah.
In your head, what's going on in your head? Are you thinking like, I know I'll get them at the end, or are you thinking like, holy
I'm thinking I just have to keep going. I wasn't thinking about it. There was no strategy. Like if I were to go into that situation now, where I can immediately feel if something's not going the way I want to, and clean it up to where the audience doesn't even realize that something has happened. Like we can correct that on the spot now. That wasn't even I was just like, okay, so I'll keep going with my script. My next line is, and my next line is, and my
Right.
next. It was like being back in Baptist church doing Easter speeches on Sunday. It was very awkward. And the thing is, like, when I was walking off the stage, like, this was the worst part. When I'm walking off the stage, it was like my face was hot. I'm trying not to cry. I walked past Michael Blackson's manager and he's looking at me like, this fucking unfunny bitch. I hear the host say, and I quote,
Oh no.
well, at least we know she's smart. She speaks really good.
God damn.
Baby, if they're not laughing, just stop. And I'm still walking. I go straight to the bar. I have 2 drink tickets. I said, may I please have a double? And she says, yes. My lip starts quivering. I kind of like just slid the drink tickets across the counter. The bartender put her hand on my hand and was like, you're just too smart for them. I said, thank you very much. I walked out of that club with their glass and their drink.
And then just downstairs into the car
and left.
Yeah.
I was done. And then it's like fast forward. The reason I remembered that it was Ramona Stevens who was host, fast forward a year later, this bitch is the fucking leasing agent at the apartment complex that I was moving into. And I'm just like, you gotta be fucking kidding me, this bitch.
Holy shit. Now, did you ever get to perform again at the J Spot?
A few other times, yeah, but
Okay.
I mean, and those were fine.
Right. Well,
But
no,
this is what I did. Now, I did not do comedy. Didn't do comedy for 6 months after that. And when I did go back to comedy, I made it a conscious effort where it was me and Teddy Ray actually. He took me to a bunch of hood ass rooms. And for a month straight, I only did hood ass rooms. And I'm talking about rooms where we were getting paid in chicken plates. You hear me?
Yeah.
Hood ass rooms. And, busted that cherry.
Rest in peace, Teddy Ray. Oh,
yeah.
I love Teddy. All right, so fuck. That's crazy. For 6 months, it fucking shook you.
Yeah.
Fuck. I mean, I love, and I'm sure you probably are the same. I always say I love black rooms because they're the most honest. You don't get courtesy laughs. They're not gonna, give you the benefit of the doubt.
Well, it's that, and also you got to understand, when I go up in a black room, in a black folk room, not an African American room,
right?
When I go up in a black folk room, I am already fighting a few different things. They already are a little annoyed with what they're looking at, and they want to know what I'm about to say, and they don't want to hear it from jump. You have, and even though it's funny.
Too.
Yeah, I hear you. Okay, yes. I get, and even though it's funny, it's 100% true. And to this day, men will come up to me after the shows, but I'll get that. I'll get men who, and I'll physically see them on stage, like while I'm on stage, just kind of trying to figure out what's going on. Cause for those who are only seeing me from the chest up, I'm thick. I'm sitting on something. And so, they'll be looking and not really sure. And like, I'll have dudes come up to me after the show and be like, I didn't know what you was going to talk about. And so when I'm already going up in front of a black folk room, a hood room, what have you, I'm already just making sure, that let's throw out what you already see. Okay, let's throw the rabbit out of the hat or whatever the fuck. Like, you see it. This is what I am. This is who I am. And now let's get to the joke. So then that's something now that I can do very well. Like, I punch you from the gut, from the get go. Like, I do church shows. Usually when I do a church show, the very first thing out of my mouth when I see these little ladies looking at me with their noses turned up, trying to figure out what I'm doing in their church, Usually the first thing I'll say something along the lines like, I know you guys see me like, and I'll say something like, yes, I am a softball coach. Let's go ahead and move on. Or I'll let them know that I'm a preacher's kid. I said I'm a preacher's kid. My dad's a pastor, so this makes sense, doesn't it? We always doing something, ain't we? We always doing something, and then we just move right along so we can
Gotcha.
get into the material to get past what it is that you're looking at.
PKs, PKs.
Oh
That's
yeah.
so yeah, I'll talk to you about it afterwards because it doesn't have anything to do with the podcast, but I'll tell you afterwards about
Okay.
the PK thing. Uh okay, now I ask everybody after the bombing story two questions. One, what looking back on it now, if you in the same situation, what would you have done differently and what did you learn from it?
Looking back now, I would have pivoted. I would have pivoted immediately, dropped the whole set if I needed to be, and just jumped into something else.
Right.
Just some more material in my reserve, or knowing who I was opening for. Just kind of researching his audiences a little bit, and uh, just catering my material to who I was featuring for at the time.
Okay. All right.
Um, and what did I learn from it? I mean, I stayed up there.
Yeah.
I stayed up there,
Soldier.
you know, you know, it took me, like I said, I sat down for 6 months, but going back into it, it's just one of those, I'm not, there's not a room that I'm afraid to do.
Right.
When I was at Kimmel's last week, I was obviously nervous. This wasn't my crowd. This wasn't that. But there's never a room that I'm afraid to do. I've been put in a lot of situations since then, and I'll continue to be put in situations where it's my first time for something. It's like my first time performing in front of an international audience when I was in Montreal. I did not know how I would be received. Like, yeah, I know it's JFL. Yes, I know you guys are used to this festival, but you guys are French Canadian. Do you even know what I'm like? Even something as simple as like, are my nuances going to translate? Are my, so things that I take the extra time now. One thing that I love about when I perform now, no matter where I'm at, is I try to spend a moment in the environment to try to pick up what is it about this place that's a little strange, a little odd,
Mm.
that I can hit at the top of the set that lets people know that I'm here and that I'm relating to, what you got going on. Like when I go to San Diego, I love to do a bit about Black's Beach, which is a nude beach in San Diego. And
Mm.
I do this bit about, hey, I went to Black's Beach today. And then the audience knows what it is. They're like, oh, and I'm like, yeah, I thought this was how Black people got to California. It is not, and
Yeah,
then
right.
the bit, but because they're like, oh, they know what Black speech is, and they know that it's just something that kind of pulls people in a little bit more.
It sounds like two things. It sounds like that you learned from it. One, more preparation, be more
Hmm.
prepared. And also from what you were saying earlier, because you were saying you were like, okay, this isn't going over well, but I have my script and that script will fill 15 minutes. So I'm just going to do my script. So it sounds like you also learn to be more in the moment, which
Right.
you like seeing, I've only seen you or known you stand up wise for what, 3 or 4 years, roughly
Yeah,
4 or
about three
5.
years.
And I've always known you as very in the moment. Like you're very in the moment. Like I remember when we were at Oyo and you started talking to the white man, the old white dude, and
Yeah.
then started like flirting, like jokingly flirting with him and like
Yeah.
and yeah. So like I've always known you as being in the moment. So it sounds like that was one of the things you might have learned from that also.
Yeah. Definitely. It was
Yeah.
scary though. It was scary.
Yeah. I
It's
mean,
just
yeah.
like, yeah, I was like, this is stupid. I'm never doing it again. Like I did, like again, literally went home with the J Spot cup, took it in my car. I'm like, I'm not drinking this in here. I don't want to hear his set. I don't want to hear anything the host has to say. It also taught me, because after that, I was producing my own shows and hosting a lot. I'm like, listen, as the host, if somebody bombs, bring the room back up. You don't
Right.
have to. You don't have to, punch down on them to bring the room up unless they've just done something stupid.
Right.
Just
Right.
they feel bad enough. They're aware. They're aware of what they've done.
That's I remember when you were talking about like just leaving, you're like, I don't want to hear all this shit. I was I told it on this show. I told my bombing story, or one of my bombing stories in that happened in San Diego actually. But after the show, I was hanging out with all the comics, and one of the comics that was like a younger comic was like, he was like, I mean, it wasn't bad. I mean, I go, no. I go, don't let me take the bomb. It's all right.
Yeah.
I'm a
Yeah.
big boy. I'm like, let me just sit in it. It's fine. You don't have to try and
Yeah.
soothe me or anything. It's shit happens. It is what it is. That was a fucking hot one that I bombed on, but it ended up having a funny story. This chick, like, this lady walked out in the middle of the show, and
Damn.
like she DM'd me, she DM'd the producer of the show, she DM'd the bar, and said all this. She didn't listen to the bit. She heard a word that triggered her, and she fucking left.
Oh, I had the same thing happen with Laugh After Dark.
Okay,
at one of their Live at Vegas shows. This lady.
Wait. Actually, because I'll have you come back and tell that story. Well, you didn't bomb. It was just one lady.
I didn't bomb. It was just the irate customer.
Wait, okay, go ahead. Tell me, what was it?
No, you go.
Oh, well, so
she wrote the bar.
She DM'd all these people or messaged all these people, and then she wrote a Yelp review for the bar, and like it said, talked about me, blah blah blah, and the bar, and that they're not friendly to the LGBTQ community, and blah blah blah, because of my joke, which is the story about going out with the trans chick, right? And and so I did the way this whole story ends is I told my bombing story, but I went on Yelp and I did a Yelp review for the restaurant and also that lady. I said that I named her because her name was on the Yelp review. I was like, this lady, I give her, 1 star or whatever. I can't remember what the fuck I wrote, but what happened with your thing?
I was telling, this was pre-SMAM. So this was just when Laugh After Dark had just started doing live in Las Vegas. And it was one of the first shows that they did, and it was a killer show. This was like February 2022. And I had a great set. Now, mind you, Notoriety was packed. There was one table that wasn't rocking with me. They were rocking with me at the beginning of my set. And then, because I was telling jokes from, like, this was pre-SMAM. So I was prepping for SMAM. So I was telling jokes from SMAM. And I have this joke called The New Jim Crow, which is one of my favorite jokes ever. And it is a killer. And it's just about, first of all, y'all go watch and or listen to the Grammy Considered SMAM. And you will know the joke. But the premise of the joke, basically, New Jim Crow is talking about masks and how, I was watching the news one day and white people, which they were tripping out about, like, man, I can't believe you're trying to make my kid wear a mask. This is like the new slavery. And I'm like, this is crazy. And I'm like, maybe I should get my vaccine, because if they start limiting what we can do, then if I get my vaccine, then I can do, things that rich white people can't do. It'll be like the new Jim Crow, and I'm Jim. And I said, I love it. And I was like, I went to a restaurant. I just kind of walked through this whole thing about at this restaurant, they wouldn't let this lady in. It was a little white lady. So I stuck around. And when she wouldn't leave, I told her, I said, hey, you order your food out, turn around and go outside, eat it around back, new Jim Crow. So I'm doing this bit. And, like the room is like erupting. It's one of my favorite bits. And, and a couple days later, Robert sends me a message, screenshotting something that she wrote as a review on their Facebook page, on the Notoriety page, on Yelp. And then she had all her friends do it. And I'll never forget, they were from Idaho City, Idaho, which says everything that it needs to say.
So
and I was furious. I was furious as hell because Robert took it upon himself to post the review to Instagram as kind of like fuck what these people say. And I'm like, but take that shit off of Instagram. Take it down. So he ended up taking it down. But no, that shit, that had me tight for like a couple weeks. I was pissed off about that shit.
Now, do you,
because it was like, she loved my set, because she's the first part of her set was real funny.
Fucking
the first part of my set was about hood shit. It was about my dad. That was funny. But when we get down to, the nitty gritty, now it's a problem. Like, lady, fuck you.
Yeah, exactly. Now, how do you how do you react to, for whatever reason, if somebody isn't feeling your, like if this was to happen now, how would you react to it? Do you still get pissed, or are you just like, yeah?
The only time that's happened now is someone, this woman in Santa Barbara got upset. Excuse me, in Solvang got upset with me because she wanted me to do her. And this is funny. This is how I'm going to answer this question, but I promise you, it's a long way, but it's an answer.
No, that's all right.
She wanted me to do her Juneteenth event last year in Solvang, which I don't know that there's enough Black people in Solvang to have a Juneteenth event.
Sounds like it's unsolving.
But we get down to it, and as part of my booking policy, it's 50% at the time of booking, 50% at the show. And so she had no problem with that. So leading up to the event, this is a year ago, and I'm saying that specifically because at this point, I have some accolades, and I everybody deserves respect, but I deserve some respect. So I'm sending her, the photos that she can use for promo. I'm sending her my bio. I'm sending all this and that, everything. And of course, it's like, if there are any issues, let me know so we can so I can then, update you or send you what you need for your show. So, she sends me after I send her everything. I'm not hearing anything from her for a couple of weeks. I think it's all fine. She sends me the website. The website has some AI generated photo of me that she's made. And I'm like, hey, I saw and my last name was spelled wrong. Now, that is my pet peeve. There are 2 L's in my McNeill. I get it. You're used to McNeill being with 1 L. Well, I am used to it being with 2. Like that's that's how I'm used to it.
You're the talent. Fucking have your name. It's your name on the fucking poster. You might want to.
So I just write her and I'm like, hey, just to let you know, my name is spelled wrong. And that picture is not something that I approve. So if there's another picture you'd like, please let me know so I can send you, what you'd like. I'll fix the name. I said, okay. And then also the picture, I want to be able to promote this.
There's 2 things.
So yeah, we're going to need to fix the picture as well. So long story short, she was like, well, I'll just take you off the website if that's a problem. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I don't give a fuck. Like, take me off the website. Like, I really don't care. No problem. So then we get about 2 weeks out for the show, and I'm promoting the show, but I'm off of the website. So I'm just telling people, hey, come to Solvang on Juneteenth for this show and this and that. She's like, well, can you use our promotional materials? And I'm like, well, I'm not on the promotional materials, so I don't understand. Like, you want me to share a flyer with faces that I'm not on?
Right.
I said, well, I'm not going to do that. She ends up accidentally sending me a message that she meant to send her assistant. This girl's getting on my damn nerves. I went and watched her special on Prime. Yeah, it's only $2.99. LOL. Like, bitch, the Avengers is $2.99 on Prime. Yeah, like, what are you talking about? Like, you're a fucking idiot. That like that. Yeah, that's how I've been paying bills for over a year off of that $2.99. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So she sends that. And I send her a text back, and I was like, either your assistant's name is really close to mine, or you're not too bright. Then she calls me. I think we need to have a phone conference. Let's have a call. And I'm just naming a time, 4:00 on Tuesday. I called my agent, who at the time, I didn't even have a manager at the time, but my agent, we're just very close. She doesn't represent me for comedy, but I'm like, can we be with each other when I make this call? Because I just feel like I may need at least some backup. So I go to my agent's office. We were supposed to do the call at 3:00. I call her at 3:01. She doesn't pick up the phone. She sends me a message. I thought the call was supposed to be at 3:00.
Oh, fucking.
Oh, okay, lady. So then she calls me back, and she's like, I only have 5 minutes to talk. And I was like, okay, well, what's going on? And she's like, well, it seems like you don't want to do the event anymore. So, we're going to need that. And it's hitting me the more she's talking. I was like, oh, this bitch is trying to get me to quit so I can give her the deposit back.
Ah.
I ain't quitting.
Yeah.
I don't care how tense it is before the show.
She doesn't know that you bombed at the J spot. You think you're gonna quit over a phone call? Fuck off.
I'm like,
you're gonna do your 15 minutes and get your drink tickets. God damn it.
Like, bitch, fuck you. And so, she's like, well, the way that our communication has been going back and forth, and something as simple as a photo, I said, yes, exactly. Something as simple as a photo is keeping you took me off the website completely. I was like, I've been promoting the show, and I was like, but at this point, it seems honestly that you are not comfortable with that. Well, when you get to the show, like, how are you going to be? And I said, I'm going to do my set, and then I'm going to leave. And she, well, I'm not very comfortable, with the way this is going right now. I said, you're not comfortable with the way this is going? She said, no. I said, you're not comfortable. Because now I'm playing this game. I said, you're not comfortable with me performing at this show. She's like, no, honestly, I'm not. I said, that's fine then. I said, you have a great day. And I hung up the phone. She calls me back. I don't pick up. She's texting me, well, we're going to need the deposit back. I said, babe, you're not getting the deposit back. And she's like, well, I'm going to take legal action. I was like, for $250? I said, go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I've still not been contacted by anybody's lawyer. She's sending my agent all these empty threats. Then about 3 months later, I've done forgot about this lady. I'm checking SMAM, and SMAM, which had already had nothing but 5-star reviews, all of a sudden was 4.5 on Prime. I'm like, how the hell did they get down to 4.5? Like, don't get me wrong, like I can accept criticism, but
Right.
to jump from 5 stars for over a year to 4.5, I'm like, dang, I must have missed a lot of negative reviews. Let me go back. There was one 1-star review.
This bitch.
And it was like, this comic ain't funny. And then I went, and you know how I do on Instagram? I lit her ass up on my stories for like 30 stories straight, because that shit pissed me the fuck off.
Yeah.
And then I text her, and I was like, bitch, did you really think, because now I don't care about you. Did you really think this was gonna, she was like, actually, I'm not the only person who didn't like it. My assistant didn't like it neither. I said, bitch, fuck you and your assistant. Yeah. That was my long way of saying, if someone were to leave a comment now, I handle it the same way. God damn it.
I love it. That's a perfect way to end it. That's the perfect ending. Now, tell everybody your social media information, where they can follow you, and then also, what do you got coming up? This will come out next week, next Thursday.
Yes, you can follow me at whatever Kalea on all platforms, Instagram, TikTok, my Meta. I like to call people by their preferred pronouns. My Meta page, because Facebook now goes by Meta and Ta. Yeah, that was really bad. I apologize. So this is the second time I've bombed. So my Meta page is just Kalea Funny. You can, if you're in the Austin, Texas area, please come out. 420, I'm going to be at Moon Tower Comedy Festival with Nate Jackson. Very excited about that. The Overlooked show. Very excited about that. And then, kind of some local stuff. I'm doing my Don't Tell set in San Diego in June. I'm going to be at Tommy T's May 1st. I need you guys to come out. Hometown show. We're going to be at Tommy T's May 1st with Desi Alexander. Everything else, you can find me on Big Irish J, because I'll be floating around that page too. Yes.
I love Kalea. And she'll be next year, Boston, St. Patty's Day, Big Irish J and show.
Boston. Your favorite Micker.
Oh, Jesus Christ. And your website, is it whateverkalea.com?
Oh, excuse me. My website is KaleaMcNeill.com.
2 L's in McNeill.
2 L's. Don't be fucking around.
Yes. And I'm at Big Irish J. All my dates are on there, but this isn't about me. It's about Kalea. So go follow her. Tell her you saw her on the Bombing podcast. Boo. And until next time, you'll like this ending. God. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Kalea? Bon voyage.
Fucking boo.